What are they doing?
Oh my God.
Core memory unlocked.
I did. I went to a Coachella after party. Oh. Did Keemstar clip? What is going on?
What are you guys even talking about? What are they doing?
Oh my God.
Core memory unlocked.
I did. I went to a Coachella after party. Oh my God. Oh, that's right. I just realized. Yo. I remember. Holy fuck, my mind just unlocked. I thought it was weird as fuck. Oh, Kaya. Kaya is literally fucking lowering the TV. Dude.
What? Like operating a mechanism? What? What is the dog doing? Okay.
Dude.
Sure.
That chatter is not wrong. This is literally, oh my God. Oh my God. That's crazy. It's not even me humoring an online schizo. No, this is real. That's right. We went to a fucking after party. It was like, I think it was like me and Will. And we were on legal substances. And I remember sitting in the back in a tent and they were beaming footage in the top of the tent. And it was like the first ever reveal of a fucking AI footage. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Because it was like a little girl and a little boy and they were opening up a Christmas present. And I thought it was strange as fuck. I literally said, Alex Jones might be right, which is ironic because I thought it was the bad vibes then. What do you mean? Like, I don't know what they fucking clipped in that clip, but I very clearly was talking about how I thought it was a bizarre moment.
What?
You've revealed this information yourself. It was not uncovered somewhere. I know. What the fuck, bruh? Stop talking. Stop talking or explaining it. Fully dog. No one knows what you're saying. We'll cover this tomorrow. Wait, you're not joking? No, we did. We went.
Oh, we'll discover this later, guys.
Will. I think it was Will and I. Yeah, I talked about it. I talked about it on stream. Oh my God. You unlocked a fucking memory.
Bro, this was crazy.
Unban the schizo chatter. The schizo chatter is vindicated, to be fair.
Uh-oh.
That's true. How are we going to cover it live from Coachella? I'm going to cover it live directly at the party. All right, anyway, love you guys. And I'm glad that I saw what the fuck that person was saying because I was like, the fuck is he talking about? Bro, you have to explain it now before it gets clipped badly? What do you mean? I literally explain it in the clip that they're clipping. What? You need to understand something very important. None of these people give a shit about the truth.
Here's what Hassan had said at the time, I think.
What? This didn't happen. What are you talking about? Think. I walked into this like back like sphere Epcot looking thing in the back of like the house that P. Diddy was renting for his and was throwing after parties at Coachella, and they were playing like these crazy like these crazy things for people who are high. Not me, of course. I had only eaten portobello mushrooms, and one of the images that they were playing was like this little girl, this like supposedly attractive, very young girl, like opening up.
Remember before it was like there was a random Coachella after party in like a tent or something, and now it's like, because now the P. Diddy story is like public or it's all broken or whatever, I guess. Now it's like, or no, now he was saying like, oh yeah, we went to some after party in a tent at Coachella, or whatever. But then and then he was like, would P Diddy ever invite me? Like, how would I even get into a party like that, guys? I'm a man of the people. I wouldn't even be able to go. And now it's like in the past, it was like, yeah, so he had an after party. He was hosting it at his house, and it was like a place that he'd rented after Coachella, and we went in. And it's like,
Miss Gift.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Oh my God, I did. What? Are you denying going to a Diddy party? Of course I'm denying. This didn't happen. What are you talking about? Think.
really makes you think.
They will literally clip something not out of context and still go, see? Anyway, let's keep going. Anyway, love you guys. See you tomorrow from Coachella, not from a Diddy party, because he's in jail. All right. Bye-bye.
Slopalicious. Okay, sorry. All right. Anyway, I thought that was funny.
Donald Trump, along with Elon Musk, have created a new government agency called Doge.
Wait. Oh, yeah. Hassan was like up all night tweeting like crazy. He was super mad. He was super mad about all this shit. I never even used this freak services, LeMayo. Also, while I was tweeting this as a dumbass 20-year-old, the dude who owns the company was getting money from Diddy for his other website, Tiny Chat, that was used by sex trafficking pedophiles. When I was 20 posting that dumb shit, the guy who owns the app was 40, getting $1.5 million in funding from Diddy and Ashton Kutcher. Also hilarious, his pathetic losers threatened to actually blackmail people who did use his service. They criticized his podcast host, Destiny Epstein, for filming sexual partners and distributing footage without consent. The Zionist freak who owns this app is a 60-year-old stalker of mine who literally got 1.5 million. Bro. Okay, sorry.
Donald Trump, along with Elon Musk, have created a new government agency called Doge. And what I originally thought was just an older sibling giving a younger sibling an unplugged video game controller actually turned into a real thing. And their first order of business was dismantling USAID, an innocent government program that helped poor people all around the world. Or was it? Hello and welcome back to the Shoe on Head channel. I am Shoe on Head and I am not real. I am a figment of your imagination. You have been in a coma since 2012. Wake up. Wake up. Today we will be talking about the dark, seedy underbelly of USAID. This is a topic I've been interested in.
Is this going to be some interesting video where we actually go into the dark, seedy underbelly of USAID? Or is this just going to be a rehash of every random $500,000 party thing that we don't like? Let's find out.
For a very long time now. And now that recently USAID has been in the news, I figured it is a perfect time to finally talk about it. All the mainstream liberal coverage I've seen of this has basically been late night talk show hosts crying fake tears about it being dismantled, and all the mainstream Republican coverage has just been about all the woke shit USAID was apparently funding. But I promise you, it is more than that. A lot more. If you're not a very political person and you only come here to consume the Reddit gender war slop, you should still stick around for this because this gets juicy. And remember, even if you're not interested in politics is interested in you. And trust me, I understand why some people aren't interested in politics. It's confusing, it's stressful, it's a lot to keep up with. I feel like 500 things happen every single day. But thankfully, I have a tool to help with that. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this video is sponsored by USAID. Just kidding, this video is sponsored by Ground News. Let's quickly give them a shout out and then we will jump back into this deep dive, shall we? Ground News is a website and an app that gives readers a fun and transparent way to read the news all across the political spectrum.
Did she
From
say
left, right, and center.
trans?
Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of political bias that helps you understand the full story and makes sure you're getting both sides. One of my favorite features of Ground News has to be the blind spot feature. It shows you news stories that have been covered by only one side of the political spectrum and ignored by the other side. For example, here is a story about how Elon Musk apparently pressured the Reddit CEO to moderate content on the site. Right away, we can see that the story has been covered by 12 sources. And out of these 12 sources, 70 wing head 39.
What we're going to focus on.
millions to an Armenian LGBT group, millions to rebuild the Cuban media ecosystem, millions for LGBT causes in the Western Balkans, millions for LGBT activism in Uganda, millions for atheism in Nepal, millions for male circumcision around the world, and $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala. And many
I don't think that last thing was true, but I don't remember the story for where that number came from.
other
but-
things that were so ridiculous I had to double check to make sure I wasn't being trolled. Taxpayer-funded sex changes in Guatemala? We don't even do that here. Now, you might be saying, Shu, this seems like some stupid anti-woke shit. And yeah, kind of. You got me. But I ask you, young naive liberal, why the fuck was John Bolton once the head of USAID? John Bolton, for those of you who are unaware, is an infamous neocon hack. He's literally criticized Trump for not being enough of a warmonger.
Why was he why was a guy the head of USAID when he was a neocon? You understand that, like, we had neocon presidents, right? Like, what does this even mean? What does that have to do with anything? What?
Neocon hacks, for those same few of you who are unaware, are the people in our government responsible for meddling with other countries all around the world and getting us into wars for basically funsies. The people who suck the teat of Raytheon, Boeing, etc. The military-industrial complex's favorite Discord kittens. These guys come in shades of red and blue. So why was John Bolton, a red guy, in charge of these same—
I also love the I love the obsession with anything having to do with foreign policy is always bad. In Iraq. It's like the same. It's the same talking points.
program, USAID, that is sending American taxpayer money to foreign countries to have things like trans pride parades. The truth is that
Yeah, what he was in. Was it? Is that true? Somebody said he was in USAID in 1982. I'm too lazy to look it up. I'll just assume it's right.
the USAID thing goes a lot deeper than what a lot of Republican commentators are saying. It wasn't just a bunch of libtards in government wasting our money on stupid woke things. No, there's way
Assistant Administrator of USAID for Program and Policy Coordination from 1982 to 1983 under Ronald Reagan. So it kind of makes sense that he would have been a neocon in a government when Reagan was a neocon when we were in the Cold War, but okay.
thing. It wasn't just a bunch of libtards in government wasting our money on stupid woke things. No, there's way more than that. You see, it's current year and we can't just do old-fashioned imperialism anymore. The people don't like that. It's a new era, so we have to dress it up in glitter and rainbows. To put it bluntly, USAID is nothing but another form of taxpayer-funded regime change, wearing an innocent mask of aid. Shut up, Shu! You dumb bimbo populist! You reactionary shitlord! You cry, tears running down your fat, retarded face. The United States is just giving foreign countries billions of dollars out of the kindness of their hearts! Oh yeah? I have a lovely bridge on sale down the road. Would you like to buy it? Listen, despite all its faults, I love America, and I love the American people. But if you believe the corrupt, greedy bureaucrats running the deep state of this country do anything out of the kindness of their hearts, you are a sweet, innocent—
Just, and again, as a heads up, because these people can't fathom a world where everybody's not an evil, horrible fucking piece of shit. Most of the people in government, like, work in government because they probably do have really strong feelings about, like, helping people and delivering it, because government jobs suck. They don't pay very well, okay? Everybody scrutinizes the fuck out of you. There's way more money to be made if you want to go work in private industry, generally, than there is, especially for a fucking bureaucratic job. Now, that's not to say that I'm sure there are some evil people that work in government, and I'm sure there are some bureaucratic people that work there because it was the only job they could get and they suck at, you know, whatever else. But, like, most of these people are pretty passionately driven. Like, if you meet any of these people, you talk to them, and everybody that works in the military or any intelligence agency or whatever, all these people that have emailed me or talked to me or that I've ever come across more or less say the same thing, right? People are generally there because they feel a certain type of way about helping at their job or helping with the United States or whatever. These people are not evil henchmen that are, you know, like in the corner rubbing their hands together to find out what evil plots they can concoct against Americans next. It's such a ridiculously, delusionally weird point to make about your fellow Americans that work in government. It's just a weird perspective.
angel.
Or it's
And
not
you need to-
weird, it's just an uneducated and uninformed perspective. Like, there's, it's just from people that don't know anybody, I guess, ever that works in government.
Kindness of their hearts. You are a sweet, innocent angel, and you need to be protected at all.
Also,
Oh, she's so annoying.
hold on.
What
Also,
the
just
fuck?
checking. What is it that we don't like again? Do we not like it when NGOs get paid? Or do we not like it when deep state bureaucrats get paid? Like, is it just all of it is bad? Because earlier she was upset that contractors were getting paid to do work on behalf of the government. Now she seems upset when bureaucrats in the government are getting paid to do work in the government. Is it just, why not just make a video and do it for like 1 minute? Be like, hey guys, just want to let you know, I hate all government everything. Anything that has anything at all to do with the government or government funding, I hate all of it. Just say that. And then be like, okay, cool. Save us the time of like pretending to, or they, like, save us from the effort where you pretend to go through and audit some government program in good faith when really you just hate all government spending or all anything. Like, just do that. Like,
costs. I especially side-eye any leftist who has the nerve to run defense for USAID, especially those who call themselves socialists or commies, considering the fact that USAID was basically originally created to destroy communist countries all around the world. Established in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy under the noble guise of aiding developing nations, USAID was, in many respects, an instrument during the Cold War to counter Soviet influence and keep the Third World from crafting its own socioeconomic model. A year after President John Kennedy created USAID in 1961, he told its directors that, as we do not want to send American troops to a great many areas where freedom may be under attack, we send you. It wasn't long before the CIA spotted an opportunity to extend its reach. In 1962, USAID launched its Office of Public Safety to send agents around the world under the guise of training police officers. But as it turned out, the trainers were busy teaching enhanced interrogation techniques, a euphemism for torture. The scandal broke out in 1966, and although the office was finally shut down in 1974, the dark practices persisted within military and intelligence circles. By 1980, USAID Administrator John Gilligan was candid enough to describe the agency as nothing more than a graduate school for the CIA. At one time, many aid field offices were infiltrated from top to bottom with CIA people, he said. It was pretty well known in the agency who they were and what they were up to. The idea was to plant operatives in every kind of activity we had overseas, government, volunteer, religious, every kind. USAID was quickly nicknamed the CIA's little sister. Oh, and here's John Bolton holding a trophy given to him by USAID in the shape of a hand grenade. Yeah.
if these are your chief criticisms with USAID, that the CIA is using it to do evil things overseas, then why is it that all the examples, and also, first of all, this was during the fucking Cold War. Just as a quick heuristic, anybody that talks about history, at least recent history, and they'll talk about how bad something was pre-91, and they'll use it to explain about something post-91, usually it's somebody who's historically illiterate. It was a different time. The United States had a whole different foreign policy aim and objective, and we were in active confrontation in a lot of different areas with the Soviets, whether that was support. And if you want to say that some of the behavior of the United States at that point in time was bad or whatever, there's plenty of room for criticism. I'm not saying that all of it is excusable. I'm just saying that it's weird that somebody will say like, oh, well, in the 80s or 70s, we did this or that. It's like, yeah, we probably did a lot of not great shit, especially in South America in that time period. But we were also like actively contending with the Soviets doing the exact same in other parts of the world, or sometimes in the same parts of the world as well. This is why this was happening. It's if these are the programs that you have an issue with, then why not point out those programs? Why are you talking about trans athletes or trans dance classes or trans surgeries? Like, why not talk about these things? Like, what is your actual issue, you know?
Yeah, nothing to see.
This build sucks.
Here, folks. So let's talk about Zune Zaneo, shall we? Sit down. I love this story. Taken directly from Wikipedia, Zune Zaneo was an online social networking and microblogging service created by the United States Agency for International Development, aka USAID, and marketed to Cuban users. It was covertly developed as a long-term strategy to encourage Cuban youths to revolt against the nation's government. The developers aimed to use non-controversial content such as Cuba.
Oh, she's so fucking annoying. Holy shit, I can't handle it.
Spent on the Iraq War.
Can't be corrected. But even if it would be in their legal interest to, and the ability of small businesses to import what Harvard did, this is starting
a dissonance where I need to go like, well, Bernie likes it, that's in my category, I need it. So, and I don't find that a lot from people that I think are really trying to save the time by just finding a group they can walk into.
It makes me wonder if my thinking of saying I feel that I am now more moderate is basically that it's not that I'm actually becoming more moderate necessarily, but it's more just like I'm now feeling more of a sense that I can't just trust one half of the political spectrum to like tell me what is or is not the case. And now I feel like really on a case by case basis, I am going to individually analyze it and come to my own conclusions. And in that context, ironically, the term moderate feels like it fits that worldview the best, where you're trying to be open-minded to it, even if that is not actually what moderate means, right?
There's two kinds of moderate. Like, there's a moderate where it's like almost wishy-washy, no stance, and it's like just trying to. Well, both sides have a good point. And there's a moderate where it's like you have a lot of well-thought, or not well-thought, but like serious points you believe in that kind of average out to a more.
Yeah.
It's an entirely different term of moderate, and I do find that all these words are like so constraining. All these words that people have relied on for like online political discussion are so limiting. And there's such minefields that it's very, very hard to even say one of them without giving the wrong. It's like a game of telephone where it hits somebody in the middle and they get the wrong neuron firing on what you're trying to say. Anyway, I sympathize with I think some of the I don't know frustration you might feel with with getting some pushback. When I think you were mischaracterized by some comments in like a way that you shouldn't have, but because you hit some of these minefields, I'm not saying that there's something you can't like follow up on or add to, but I noticed that, and I wanted to say that like it's something I've had thoughts about.
Aiden, who do you vote for?
And why are they the best and why is everyone else the worst?
No, I appreciate that. Yeah.
You'll start. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, first of all, I think
you can simplify whatever you were thinking into one word, and you can pick the word.
We'll know if you're the right one.
A very short response to the thing you were saying at the beginning is that I do think, in American political context, our Democratic Party is not actually that left. And if you look at it in a global political context, it is a pretty moderate party.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, while this is like kind of true, it's like a moderate left party. What he's saying actually is kind of true. But the thing to keep in mind is that, at least from my understanding, in European countries where they have legitimate socialist parties or legitimate far left parties, these are never, are there any European countries? These aren't the parties that have any of the political power. That most of the large parties that control huge swaths of European governments are generally also center-left parties. It's not like the socialist parties.
Beef, or maybe even anger, with some of the comments and the way that people talked about what you said and the way people engaged with the idea that we read abundance or this different idea of...
Also, is there no point in building walls? Do they always just step right over them? It's basically a waste of time, right?
You know, where you stand based on a label, depending on how they interpreted what you said, really illustrated a point for me of how I am done. I feel very done with political labels in this part of my life. I come at this from a perspective of I'm like a little younger than you guys. I think like 4 years.
You're way younger than Atrioc, but yeah.
Okay, fuck yourself and fuck yourself.
And I think
you're older than me. I always forget.
It's cool if I just go on the offensive. You usually forget.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
You usually don't realize.
Very well played. Very well played.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Every time somebody younger than me on any of the Twitch stream, like Squeaks turned like 30, 31, I was like, you are so fucking old. And nobody thinks to question how old I am when I say this.
What's fucked up is that you have taken, people call you bald. You're not bald.
Yeah.
You're not bald at all.
I know.
There's something bald about him, and you're taking bald pride. You're like, I'm balding.
From a real, genuine, yeah.
Me and Squeaks are out here suffering, and you're like, oh, bald. Don't call me bald.
To be fair to me, I truly don't want the joke to exist. I've not encouraged it in any way, I assure you.
No,
when people come out and say, oh, a podcast with 3 bald guys, if Doug's bald, it's over for me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There's no way.
I'm not even at bald, but you're calling him bald? It's crazy.
When I was younger, particularly in college and coming up in the social media space of Twitter and maybe even the Smash community to an extent, I think just across the board, I exist in a heavily left-leaning social space. And I don't mean like, and I went to school in Seattle. So when I say left-leaning, I mean like a lot of my friends were like, Mao and Stalin were chill, and we should really move in that direction. Like I'm talking about dealing with like that spectrum of person, and I think having dealt with a lot of versions of leftists through my social life, have grew a little tired with some of the comments on that episode and the way that people came at you specifically, because depending on their perspective of what leftism is and what is like morally correct to do, they label things differently depending on whether they like it or not. The easiest demonstration of this is that I think a big chunk of abundance is talking about building housing so it is more widely available. And on one hand, a group of what I would call leftists, and I don't mean Democrats, because there's a group of leftists that will say, well, they're just like not left enough, or they're not left in the way I like. They will say that approach to housing, that you label yourself a moderate for liking, Doug, come with us. That's what leftists actually think. You're actually a leftist because you think that. But then there's another group of leftists that are calling that solution neoliberal slop, and they don't.
The problem with a lot of Americans is that unless you spend time online, you don't realize that leftist doesn't mean liberal. It means something explicitly different. And now a lot of Americans have kind of adopted this vocabulary of saying leftist, but it doesn't. It means something way different than what most Americans think it means, which is annoying sometimes.
Like it. And I think terms like neoliberal, like left, like right, whatever, I think the problem with these things, it's not that they have no utility at all, and it's not that they don't actually have academic definitions that maybe we could agree and talk about things with.
Yeah.
But the problem is these terms mean very different things to different groups of people. One demonstrated conversation I had was in the Yard Discord, and we were talking about abundance being too neoliberal, basically. I encountered this pushback a lot, which is, I didn't like that because I want you to explain to me what that means to you. And then this conversation diverged, and we started talking about like Nordic political and economic systems. And they were talking about how that is too neoliberal and exists within this like world order that like needs to be deconstructed. I think you can actually make arguments for those things. I think you can break it down and have long form discussions and validate your position
in the Yard Discord, which is like the Socrates round.
Okay, I want you guys to this is a quick tangent. This is actually really funny. Is unfortunately in the absence of a real Lemonade Stand Discord, there's a channel. There's a set of channels in the Yard Discord which has a shit ton of channels.
Dude, we need a Discord and a Reddit because my Reddit's getting.
I know. In our Discord, there's 4 channels that are called Ludwig Zone, Nick Zone, Aiden Zone, Slime Zone, right? And the idea is you can talk about things either specifically related to us or for all the channels except Ludwig Zone, you can talk about with us directly.
I see. You get it, but there.
Aiden Zone has unfortunately just turned into the Lemonade Stand Discord.
Lemonade Zone.
It's
Ooh.
a nightmare.
Do we need to make a new Discord then?
Yeah, let's do that one.
If you sign up for this Patreon, you get access to the Yard's Aiden's
We're gonna
Discord.
backdoor you in, and we're gonna sell it for a discount.
But in this discussion,
we're transshipping.
This is to get around the Yard tariffs.
Patreons. We go through Thailand, and you can get.
To me, this was a very limited critique of that I have, because I've been in the spaces for so long, have noticed a lot of young leftists do, particularly young leftists who haven't actually read anything.
True.
They'll just say,
and always true.
They'll just toss out a label and be like, I don't like the vibes of this, and then they'll call it like neoliberal as an example.
Right.
Which is frustrating because I was like, what specifically about the Nordic system do you not like? I understand that it might not be the end game, but I think like the examples I gave is like strong unionization, nationalization of some industries, like Norway, they nationalized oil, right?
Sure, yeah.
And one more thing, doesn't really matter. And I listed all of those off, and I was like, which one of these goals do you think is too neoliberal? And I'm like, unionization and nationalization of industry, what part of those things is like not left to you?
Right.
If we can't agree on that, where does this conversation even go from here? And the person kind of caved. They were like, actually, yeah, those are like, my frustration is because people interpret these labels in different ways and use them so inconsistently and is so imparted on what they personally believe is valid, it's just lazy. I'm tired of having conversations in the binary of like right and left. I want to have conversations about policy and goals and how we get there and how we change things, because I'm sick of getting watered down in the idea that I need to like ascribe to the label correctly to get you to fucking come along and have the conversation about housing.
Hell yeah.
It is so, it is, you do not care. And this is also why I got a little mad on like Doug's behalf, is think about the setting of how this conversation is coming up to begin with. Doug wants to have a conversation like we all do about how do we solve the housing crisis in America. The bar that we all start at is we don't want people to be homeless. People should be able to afford homes, and they should be able to live good, happy lives. So why, with that being the starting point, is your first instinct to be like, Doug is getting a little too right wing because he wants housing for people? Like, it's a delusional conversation that has nothing of value, creates no action, and it doesn't let us solve any sort of problem. And I say that as somebody who was this guy. I was trapped in this world of like trying to participate and like be morally correct and like display. And it doesn't mean these conversations are absent of values, but you need to understand how your values are attached to action. So that has been my thought about it, is like I'm sick of labels. I think they are not productive. I have a set of like morals and values that I want to fulfill, and I want the policies attached to them that fulfill them the best. And it doesn't matter if you're right or left. It's like those terms don't mean anything because they mean different things to different people.
I think that is very well said.
Yeah, I really liked how he said that. I thought you were spitting. I think that's fire.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with using labels, and like it's just the issue. And I think we should all be sympathetic towards what he's saying. The issue is that it feels like sometimes people use these labels to obfuscate rather than to actually have a conversation, or they're just trying to like get you on something real quick, and they're not actually concerned with figuring out, you know, what it is you think or believe, or where do you align on policy or not. I think is the issue, right?
One thing to add is like another minefield here that I have encountered is that sometimes, especially I feel like lately, I've seen politicians or public figures, and they've figured out an extra layer to this, which is like the snakeskin, where they can say a value that I agree with, and then their actions don't match it. Like, you know, and one good example, I think you might have brought this up or talked about it, is like, I am personally of the, I think it's almost anyone, if you ask me, do you want to make government more efficient? It's very simple. It's like an easy, everyone's like, yeah, the government should be more efficient. We should use our money effectively. And someone like an Elon Musk is tweeting like videos of economists that I agree with and stuff like that, but then in his actual actions are doing none of the things. Like, you can speak all the words you want. I mean, even
this is why that interview with Steve Bannon was so disgusting to me, because I genuinely, when you watch these interviews with Steve Bannon that have come up more recently, he's a really strong insight into the Trump campaign, why Trump makes the decisions that he does. And from Bannon's perspective, he's a strong working class like perspective of why he wants to make the changes he wants to make. I want to again stress, I do not agree.
You fuck with Steve Bannon.
You're on the right.
Heavy. Yeah, he is. Yeah, heavily.
Maybe what bothers me even more is that even if Steve Bannon 100% believes what he says he's saying in these interviews, it is not backed by the administration or the people that are on board with it at all. If you truly believed what you're saying, Steve Bannon, you wouldn't stand behind the people that are in power right now. They don't even follow what you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any, it doesn't, exactly.
Yeah, I fucking agree so hard. And there's like a long history of this. I mean, you know, a classical example, and this is not something I agree with, but like Ronald Reagan was the guy that came into power saying, you know, the worst thing you can hear is the government is getting involved. We're gonna make small government. But in actuality, he drastically increased spending. He drastically increased the military, cut taxes, blew out our deficit. He was like, we got to balance our budgets. He says these things, but in actions, there's none of it. There's nothing even close to whatever his ideal is. So I can't even get to the point where I'm like debating you on the ideal or like discussing the ideal because it's not happening. That is what's been, to me, the most, there's a lot of things to be mad, but to me, the thing that irks me the most about this Trump administration is like, there's nothing I can even ideologically talk about. There's no ideology there. It's all whatever his whims are. It's all loyalty to him. It's all one guy doing random shit. It's impossible for me to even find the thing that I'm talking about to break it down because it changes so dramatically. So that's a frustration I've been having with politics in general. It's like, I just think these people don't even match up to what they say.
Now that we've both gone on two fiery
you want to rant? Rant it up.
How do you feel like that engages with what you're talking about? Well, like, what do you think about?
Yes. It was interesting. I think the use of labels was the flashpoint for people to respond with a lot of emotion. And I'm realizing, you know, again, like basically what we're saying is the same kind of transformation you've had of feeling like just being really tired of like everything needs to be categorized into these buckets in terms of like, let's just try to understand what's going on. That to me is so important. And my biggest frustration with politics and with political discourse is that nobody seems to be able to talk with any kind of respect or acknowledgement of each.
If this guy genuinely believes this, then that's cool. So but I do find that one of the frustrating things about the people who are like, why can nobody respect each other anymore? Oh, Asmongold, right, included. He kind of said this today, right? Why? It seems like everybody's so evil and so harsh and so mean. But then when you look and see like at the type of political rhetoric they support, it's like the harshest, evilest, meanest shit that you can find. And it's like, well, what exactly are you looking for here? Because I'm trying to see what you're. I'm trying to see like what it is you actually fucking care about, because it seems like you do want the mean shit, but maybe he doesn't.
It's all just it's one side versus the other. It seems like it's maybe dissipating a little bit now, and that's why I'm glad we are doing this, because I feel like it's an effort to explicitly push back against that. And that's it's interesting as I've attempted to put labels on myself to figure out where I am in this. That in this conversation and the past week or two, I'm like, oh yeah, kind of just the labels don't really make sense to me. I'm just trying to view things on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
I think the way, you know what, this is funny. I feel this way about my sexuality. I always talked about when I was growing up, because I've had a lot of people reach out to me, I'm bisexual, and I figured out I was like bisexual when I was like pretty young.
You're moderate.
So that means you're a moderate.
I sit on the fence.
You're like a Joe Biden.
Okay. You're not the first person to make that joke. But the thing when I was growing up, the way I looked at it was like, I just like who I like. I don't really think about it very much. I don't think I don't really care that I'm bisexual. I don't take a lot of like pride in it. It's just like, I just kind of like who I like, and that's it. And as I talk to other, particularly men in my life who like were friends of mine and then came forward to me at some point and basically told me that they were like, how did you know? How did you figure that out? Because they were going through feelings of figuring that out in like their early to mid 20s. And I often told them that. I was like, you don't need to get caught up. You don't need to like prove anything to anybody. I think this is weirdly similar to that, in that I do ascribe myself as I'm left. I'll say it in a very general sense. I'm a left-leaning person. If you took most economic and social issues and you ascribe them to a basic spectrum that most people understand, I will probably be on the left side in almost everything you bring up. But the reason why I keep it vague and I say almost is I don't think that's important. We should talk about the like dynamism of each issue and talk about the way it interacts with other things and get to the bottom of like each specific thing.
Not much to be said there, but I fucking agree. I think I'm glad we said this. It's a good.
Yeah. Hey, another problem solved by Lemonade Stand.
To me, I'm hoping, because I think the Patreon will be successful. We don't know yet, but I think this sets a good base, and the tone that I wanted coming into the show with you guys is I'm over that time in my life where I want to just make broad generalizations about things. I want to dig into problems and talk about them and present them in like as honest of a way as possible, and also be receptive when like new information or ideas are given to me, which I think is a general strength of mine, is like my mind isn't set about these things. I want as much information as possible to make a better decision because I care about the problem being solved. I don't care about the idea of being on what side of the issue. If we came back to housing, I want people to have houses. Like, how do we get
brave?
Such a brave thing.
But it's not, right?
Yeah.
It's not brave. It's like, why can't we all are starting from there?
No, I think you summed up in a more potent way, I think, how I've been feeling, and verbalized it in a pretty good way, because that's very much how I think about this. Yeah.
And if we could get back to roasting Doug, he said Brightline was high-speed rail. What a
dumbass alert!
Idiot,
What? Oh,
an
come on.
Idiot.
What
He said it
a
was high
fucking
speed.
right-wing shill!
Wow, how cute. Very curious if you'd ever do a breakdown of ironic post-love podcasts, Chapo, True Anon, etc. Was an avid listener, still listening here and there, but grew concerned about their communication style. I've listened to some, and some of it's like kind of funny, but I just don't have I think the style of humor for me to care as much about that kind of stuff. So I don't think I would ever listen to much of it in like long form and be able to tell you if I agree or disagree with some of it. I don't know. Or think it's like too problematic or something. Maybe the Carney interview with Scott Galloway. We watched some of it. We watched enough of it. We get it. We figured him out. He's a neoliberal shill. They were all trying to get him on the Canadian debate stage. I think because they were kind of saw him as, I guess, like the poll leader. Although supposedly, I don't know, when do polls close for all of this stuff or what? I feel like I saw people saying you need to vote ASAP. And supposedly the conservative duders are closing in, or it's very close, or they're slightly ahead on the 28th. Can you vote early or something? This weekend is advanced polling, and the 20th is election day. Gotcha. Have you kept up on the DNC stuff? Do you have an opinion on David Hogg? Not a strong opinion. No, I really haven't. He was the guy. Was he the guy who made his like whole I'm not trying to sound mean, but like his whole identity is like anti-gun stuff. He was like a survivor of Sandy Hook or something. Yeah. Okay. As an avid anti-gun person myself, I agree 100%. Okay. That needs to be the entire identity of the Democratic Party. Or not. Oh, Parkland, not Sandy Hook, sorry. Would you do a Canadian election stream? Maybe, if I'll be here. I think I'll be here. Is JJ McCullough a little schizo? He seems to get very mad anytime Carney says anti-American stuff. I hear people say this a lot, and maybe it's a little true. He seems like a little bit of a marabou. He really, really, really loves America. Which, you know what? God bless him, because what a great country this is. Did you want to go through H3's reaction to the content cop, or is it too repetitive after watching yourself? Bro, I watched the whole thing. I don't think I want to. Do I need, like, is he going to go over anything brand new? I'm sure Awk will post or Yeet or Awk will post the good clips for whatever's necessary to go over. Is there, there's no way to build this shit on Novice, right? Like, if I've unlocked the higher tier dirt, can I put that down on? Just kidding.
idiot. I should have done that. slow to come online. Oh, well. Don't need damage, need something else. Maybe haste on this. Would be good. Ah, that's the worst one. Oh, ding dong. So we need, what, another 10? Another 10? Fuck off. Menu create, reduce it by, yes. Oh, whatever. This runs into that anyway. Maybe not. That was fucking horrible.